The first present, the matter of fact presence of God. The second present, the indwelling presence of God. The third presence, the affirmative presence of God that can result in prosperity, favor, and protection. It can also result in sacrifice and martyrdom. The fourth presence of God, the promised presence of God. God promised to be with us when He gives us an assignment. God promised to be with us when we gather in His name. The fifth presence of God is the manifest presence of God. I think this is the one that we like the most. This is the one that we want. So the Lord said to Elijah, we will look at Elijah as an example. I think that's one of the best examples to look at. The Lord said to Elijah, go out and stand on the mountain in the presence of the Lord, for the Lord will pass by. But we need to have a little bit of context first. Another important way to read the Bible is always understand the context. So Elijah was one of the prophets of God. A few years before this, he promised that there will be no rain. So the king not happy. Who was the king? The king was one of the most terrible king, Ahab. Who was the queen? Jezebel. Again, one of the worst. Ahab and Jezebel. Jezebel is almost like a witch. So a few years before this happened, Elijah prophesied that there will be no rain. And then somehow Ahab met with Elijah. And Ahab's word to Elijah was this. Upon seeing Elijah, he said, "You are troublemaker of Israel." Oh, that's a very wonderful title. You are the troublemaker for Israel. No rain, tap or no water. Elijah turned around to Ahab and said, "I'm not the troublemaker, you are the troublemaker. You disobey God, you make God angry, that's why no rain." That eventually they went up to Mount Carmel. In Mount Carmel, you have one of the greatest showdown. The false prophet, the prophets of Baal gathered together, and Elijah was alone. He said, "You choose a cow, you choose an animal, you slaughter your animal, you make an altar, and then you pray to your Baal God, see whether he send down fire or not." And then he made his own altar, slaughter the cow, set up the altar, pour water some more, pour water into the altar, everything wet. He called up to God. God consumed the sacrifice with fire. And then the people all get very excited. Suddenly got revival. They kill all the prophets, false prophets. It was after this, Elijah suddenly heard Jezebel say, Fong, you did all these things to my prophet, I won't let you go. I'm going to take revenge. When Elijah heard this, he was so scared. He ran and he hid. He was tired. He was afraid. He almost want to commit suicide already. I want to die. No, what Paul continue to live. So God appeared to him and God said, "Go stand on the mountain. The presence of God is going to pass by. I'm going to say something to you. You will have an encounter with me." And to cut the long story short, the mighty wind came. Was God in the mighty wind? No. The earthquake came. Was God in the earthquake? No. The fire came. Was God in the fire? No. Finally, there was a still small voice. One Bible translation says a whisper, a quiet whisper. And God was in that still small voice, and God spoke to Elijah and encouraged him and ministered to him. So this is the manifest presence of God. We all like, isn't it? You like it or not? I like, yeah. But I think in this hall, if suddenly there is a mighty wind, we also scared, right? But I think this hall strong, Some house in Malaysia, the mighty wind come down, you know. Mighty wind, earthquake, fire. Because let us be sure about something. Can God be present in the mighty wind? Can or not? Can. Are there examples that God was present in the mighty wind? God or not? God. On the day of Pentecost, when the 120 gather in the upper room, the presence of God swept through with a mighty wind. When the children of Israel were standing at the edge of the Red Sea, the Bible says a mighty wind came and the sea parted, isn't it? So, can God be present in the mighty wind? Can. Can God be present in the earthquake? Can. When the children of Israel complained about Moses, murmur about Moses, God opened the earth and swallowed all those murmurers. Yeah? When Paul was in the jail in Philippi, God sent an earthquake and shook the jail and he came out. Can God be present in the earthquake? Can. Can God be present in the fire? Can. On Mount Carmel, just only maybe a few days or 1 or 2 weeks ago, God sent out fire, consumed. So God can be present in the mighty wind. God can be present in the earthquake. God can be present in the fire. But in that particular circumstance, in that particular situation, God wanted to minister to Elijah, and he chose to appear in the still small voice. You understand? Sometimes we get disappointed when God doesn't appear with a mighty wind. Sometimes we get disappointed when God doesn't appear in the earthquake. Sometimes we get disappointed when God doesn't appear in the fire. It is God's prerogative. It is God's choice. God's manifest presence is His sole sovereign prerogative. He decides whether He wants to appear in a very dramatic way or He wants to appear in a very soft way. In His own time, in His own way. We cannot put God into the box and say, you must be like that. Neither can we put God outside the box. You understand? God is God. We are not.